Hey friends, Jennifer here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Philippines Retirement Visa. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Philippine government registered marketer. So I assist people who would like to apply for Philippine retirement visas. So I know what I'm talking about. I deal with this every day. Okay, what is this visa? It's Srrv, or a Special Resident Retirees Visa. Interestingly, this month, September 1, 2025, the government expanded the Srrv. So new people can apply. There have been some changes on visa deposit requirements. Some requirements have been waived. It's a mix of some good or bad. So let's dive into it. What is Srrv? It's a lifetime visa that allows unlimited stay in the Philippines, unlimited entry and exit. So this visa is issued by the immigration, but you don't apply to the immigration. You apply to a special agency. So the government decided that we'll make a different agency just for this visa alone. And that is the Philippine Retirement Authority. Apart from being able to stay here forever, you also get to study, you get to invest if you want. If you want to work with a Philippine company, you can apply for a work permit. Other than that, there is also convenience in transactions. So if you have this visa, it's very easy to open a Philippine bank account, easy to apply for a Philippines driver's license. So you're not just a tourist, you are a resident retiree. Wait, actually, a special resident retiree. Now, who is eligible to apply for this visa? Anyone who is 40 years old and above. You can also include your spouse and your children. Just one spouse per person. What's something that would make someone ineligible to apply is if they are related to POGO operations, that mostly Chinese nationals who are involved in online gambling in the Philippines, they can't apply. Or if you have a really very serious, terrible criminal history that involving moral turpitude, like murder, homicide, rape, abuse of children, really terrible criminal history, that would make someone ineligible. But minor ones, you're okay. If you're not sure, you can get a police report, give it to me, and we'll check. Anyways, so anyone 40 years old and above with a clean record, or not so bad record. Now, there are two types of Srrv. The first one is Srrv Classic and Srrv Courtesy. So which Srrv you qualify for depends on your employment or affiliation, and depends if you have a pension or not. Now let's start. With Srrv Classic, you can either be with or without pension. And then there are subcategories. You are either 40 to 49 years old or 50 years old and above. The younger you are, the higher the deposit. Let's put it that way. And then under your age group, there's with or without pension. Pension. What do you mean pension, Jennifer? The acceptable forms of pension are Social Security benefit, private pension, annuities, government pension, lifetime disability benefit. So the key principle, it has to be lifetime and you must be actively receiving it. It's not, in 2 years, I'll start receiving a pension. No, you must be already receiving it. For solo applicants, the pension requirement is at least $800 monthly gross. So I know some countries deduct taxes or maybe insurance. Don't worry, they're not counted. The gross amount is the basis. And then for people with dependents, spouse, or children, it has to be at least $1,000 per month. If you're receiving it in other currencies, just convert it to US dollars. Now let's talk about the deposit. That's the biggest part. If you are 40 to 49 years old under Srrv Classic, if you have a pension, the visa deposit requirement is $25,000. If you are without a pension, it is at $50,000. Now, if you're 50 years old and above, if you have a pension, the visa deposit is $15,000. If you don't have a pension, the visa deposit is $30,000. This is a lot of money, Jennifer. What happens to the visa deposit? Well, the visa deposit, it's like an investment to the country. We give you a visa, you invest to the country. So the money stays in a Philippine bank account. It just stays there. There is an interest, but it's really very low. So I would consider it like a rental bond. You know, you're renting a house, you pay the landlord a rental bond. So it's like a bond. You get it back. If, let's say, you decide to leave the program or you decide to convert it to an investment, which we'll talk about next. Another way that you can get your visa deposit back is involuntarily, and that is death. Your next of kin, so your spouse or your child or your sibling, or your parent, next of kin will automatically be eligible to claim it. Or if you don't have a next of kin, whoever is written on your will. So I mentioned about converting your visa into an investment. So these are the acceptable conversion option. You buy a condominium unit or like an apartment that is worth at least $50,000, then you can get your money back and still keep the visa. Okay? Condominium unit, it's a good option for foreigners because you actually really own it. As we know, foreigners can't own land in the Philippines, but you guys can own building or apartment. The next option is if you enter into a long-term leasehold rights valued at $50,000 for a minimum of 25 years for a ready for occupancy condo, apartment, townhouse, or house and lot. These are the options to convert your visa deposit. But I want to be clear, you need to make the visa deposit first, get the visa, wait at least 1 month before you can explore converting your visa deposit into an investment. We clear? So SRV Classic, yes, there's a high deposit. And it's good for people who just want to live here, come and go without the hassle of visa extensions. If you don't mind keeping some money in there, then this SRV Classic is good for you. You know what? Later, you might buy a condo, or later you might end up marrying a Filipina. Who knows? Or if you're just someone who considers the Philippines as their permanent home, like this is it for you. SRV is a good option because then you don't have to worry about monthly extensions or leaving the country every 3 years. Like you are rooted here. You know, you have a lifetime status. But can you imagine yourself applying for a tourist visa extension when you're 80 or 85? Oh, I have to leave the country because my 3 years is up. Yeah, so SRV Classic will solve that problem. Give you a peace of mind. Now let's move on to another SRV type. And this is SRV Courtesy. Who are eligible? Former Filipino, Filipinos who have been naturalized as foreign citizens abroad. So for example, a Filipina marries a foreigner, becomes a foreign citizen, and does not apply for dual citizenship. Then they are considered former Filipino. Next, people who are members of special occupations or affiliations. We'll talk about that. And people with or without a pension. Pension requirement applies for people who are 40 to 49 years old under the SRV Courtesy. So they can either have with or without a pension. The pension definition is still the same like I mentioned a while ago. It can be either government or private. It can be a disability payment that is lifetime and consistent. For the SRV Courtesy, the pension requirement is at least $1,000 per month. Whilst this one is new, if you're 50 years old and above, the pension requirement is waived. It's no longer required. Nice. So who are eligible for SRV Courtesy? First on the list are former military members of US, Canada, Europe, and Australia who have served at least for 2 years and were honorably discharged. Again, military guys who served for at least 2 years. You don't need to have retired. I was told that in like the US, the definition of retired military is someone who served for 20 years. So no, we don't require 20 years of service, just at least 2 years. Moving on, people who can apply for SRV courtesies are university professors of US, Australian, Canadian, Japanese, and European universities. as long as you can have a certificate that says you work as a professor. Just that word professor we need, and you're good. Diplomats and ambassadors can apply as well for SRV courtesy. Retired officers and staff of organizations like USAID, AU, Australian Aid, and other. And then scientists, physicists, and top-rated engineers. Scientists and physicists, they're easy to define. Top-rated engineers, we're talking about people who've worked in major companies with like master's degree. Next on the list are top achievers in sports, arts, and business. How do you define top achievers? PRA has not really actually given specific qualifications, but when you say top achievers, it's someone who received like national and international awards. Lastly, members of international organizations such as ADB, International Potato Center, check it on the screen, World Bank, World Food Program, World Scout Bureau, Peace Corps. So those are SRV courtesy under special occupations or affiliations. Now let's talk about SRV courtesy for former Filipinos, aged 40 years old and above. For former Filipinos, you do not need pension, but your visa deposit depends on your age. Other people who can apply for SRV courtesy. So let's say you're an American. Oh, Jennifer, I'm not a military. I'm not a university professor. But I'm married to a Filipina who's now a US citizen. And they have not applied for dual citizenship. Well, that's one way to apply. We can get the wife, apply for SRV, and make you a dependent. So both of you will be under SRV courtesy. I actually have clients who are like keen on putting in 15,000, and we figured out, you know what, your wife can apply and make you a dependent. Let's call on the wife, ask if she agrees to apply for SRV, and they actually do. So it really saves a lot. Now let's talk about the visa deposit. The visa deposit for 40 to 49-year-olds courtesy applicants. If they've got a pension, the visa deposit is $3,000. If they don't have a pension, it's $6,000. While for 50 years old and above, whether they have a pension or not, it's irrelevant. Again, if you're 50 years old and above under SRV courtesy, pension is not required. So the visa deposit is always just at $1,500. Meanwhile, for former Filipinos who are foreign citizens, have not applied for dual citizenship. For 40 to 49 years old, the visa deposit is $3,000. For 50 years old and above, it's $1,500. Now, which SRB type are you eligible for? I don't remember everything, Jennifer. Don't worry, I have an awesome website. The best SRB website there is. I'm so proud of it. If you see it, you'll know. My website is called srvguy.com. Let me show you. That's me. So the first question is, what is your age? So for example, you are 50 years old plus. Have you been convicted of a serious criminal offense? Have you been a member of POGO? Let's say no. Are you a former Filipino? Just a sample for this video, I will say no. And then, are you on this list? Are you a military, professor, you know, the list of stuff I mentioned a while ago? Are you an international philanthropist? Yeah. So let's say you say yes. Is your monthly pension $1,000 or more? Yep. Yep, there you go. You are under SRV courtesy. The benefits are all there. You can have a read. The visa deposit is $1,500. Includes 2 dependents. The application fee is $1,500. There you go. And then if you're happy to proceed, just click here, apply for your SRV, and then sign up to my website and we'll get in touch with you. All my clients, I do one-on-one consult with them, so they feel more at ease and we can actually plan their SRV application. We can create a timeline and a list of requirements because every person's requirements is different. So it's personalized. Now, Jennifer, what is the process to apply? The process to apply is first you sign up on my website or you contact me via email. Either way. Next is we'll set up a consultation. Usually if you're overseas, 3 to 4 months before your arrival here. But if you're already here in the Philippines, we can just do the consult straight away. Then we'll gather documents. I'll give you the steps. So for example, I'll tell you, hi John, I need from you your proof of pension and your DD-214. Or hi Steve, I need your proof of pension. I'll give you instructions. And then once all the documents are complete, we will meet in person to finalize and submit your application. Most, like 99% of my clients from abroad, they arrive here, we get to submit their application in 2 days. It's pretty quick, straightforward, as long as you follow my instructions. Now this question I always ask, when are you coming to the Philippines? Why? First up is some documents are only valid for 6 months, such as your foreign police report and your medical test results. So there's no point getting a police report this year when you're applying next year, December. So that's why I mentioned it's important to create a timeline. And another reason why I ask clients, when are you coming to the Philippines, is because your passport, your passport will be included in the visa submission. It'll be on the hands of the government while your visa is being processed. It means you have to be here while the visa is being processed. How long do I have to be here, Jennifer? So it depends which PRA office you apply or you submit your application to. So Manila, being the main office, it's the capital of the country. They process the visas there, so it's pretty quick there. Usually 45 days. That's the minimum amount of stay I require clients to stay. 45 days. But the safest is 2 months. We don't want a situation where the visa is not yet finished and now you have to leave the country. I mean, yes, we can pull out the passport, but it would disrupt the process. It's better to just leave it there and let it, let it marinate, let it finish. And then next up is if you are submitting your application in, let's say, Cebu, in Davao, or in Clark, or in Baguio, you have to stay longer. The processing in satellite offices are longer, so I usually recommend clients to stay at least 2.5 months, but the safest is 3 months. Now, Jennifer, how many times do I have to visit the Philippine Retirement Office? Just twice. First is when we submit your visa, and then lastly is when we do the oath taking, when the visa is actually issued and all your documents are given back to you. So just twice. And both of these are at your convenience. There's no strict appointment. How much does the visa cost? So we already talked about the visa deposit. I mean, the visa deposit, yeah, it's money that has to leave your bank account, but it's still yours. You can get it back. Then there are costs that you can't get it back. The first one is the application fee. It's the cost to apply for the visa. It's at $1,500 US. If you have dependents, you have a wife or a child you want to include, it's $300 for them. The annual fee for the visa, if you're applying under SRV Classic, it's at $360. If you are applying under SRV Courtesy as a foreign national, it's $100 per year. If you're applying as a former Filipino, it's at $50 per year. And then there are fees, other fees. First one is apostille or legalization of documents. It depends on your country. It depends how you want to complete it. I offer apostille service. You can also do it by yourself. I give you the option. We'll discuss that in our consultation. Next is medical tests. We do that here in the Philippines. $25 to $30. Cheap. Visa extension. Usually we'll have to extend your visa before we submit. That's usually $70. And then there might be some travel expense and assistance fees. Depends how much level of in-person assistance you need. For many of my clients, we pick them up at their hotel. And then we take Grab. We make it easy for them. Especially for guys who are new to the country. And what do you think? Let me know in the comment section. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. God bless you all and stay safe.